Hi, welcome to Mathematics with Tom. I am Tom, and today we are going to study or look at what are called measures of central tendency. And it sounds big and intimidating, and really what it means is we're going to find the mean, the median, and the mode of a data set. So let's come to the board. Let me give you a data set, and we'll get started. So today is mean, median, and mode. And when we lump them together, they're referred to as, they're often referred to as measures of central tendency. Okay, that's what we're going to do today. And a data set. Oh, wait, before I give you a data set, I need to tell you a story. And let's do that. Let's use a story to get our data set. And here's the story. This story has a title. It's called Bill in a Bar. Bill in a bar. Okay, so how does this go? Well, here's how it goes. Some friends are sitting around in a bar after work one day, and they start having a beer, and pretty soon they're like, hey, how much do you make? And people, no one ever wants to answer that question, but after another round of beer, everyone starts to open up, and they're like, hey, you know what? I've been taking a statistics class. Let's find the statistics of our income. And so they say, all right, I'll share. So first person goes, and that's Ann. And Ann makes $30,000 in a year. And then our next person is Brianne. Brianne says, oh, well, I also make $30,000 in a year. Then there's Cindy. Cindy shares. Cindy makes $35,000. Cindy. Then there's Doug. Doug makes $40,000. Then there's Earl. Or we'll call it Eric. How about Eric? Eric makes $45,000. And then there's Francine. Francine makes $50,000. Everyone's like, whoa, Francine. And then there's one more. There's Gigi. So Gigi says, well, I make $85,000 a year. And so, of course, they pass the tab over to Gigi. Well, let's do this. So they were sitting around, and they're like, well, let's figure out what is the mean of our incomes, median of our incomes, and the mode of our incomes. Now, I need to show you something. So, the mean is, and I'm going to write this out, and I'm going to do two things. I'm going to just call it mean for a moment. Mean equals, it's this. This is a fancy symbol. Okay, it's the sum of all of the data values divided by the number of data. And this n is the number of data. Number number of the data. What are these x's? Well, I'll show you what the x's are. So if you could imagine when you were sitting in a class with a bunch of your colleagues, you're all students. So if I wanted to assign a variable to my class in general, I think S would be a very good choice of variable because it stands for S is obviously for students. But each one of you is different. So instead of calling you by your names, I might say, well, you're S1, student 1. But the next person, the person sitting next to you is also a student, but they're not you, so they would be S2. And then the person next to that person is also a student, but they're different than the first two, so that would be S3. And so, in other words, we could think of each one of these people as X1, our first person, X2 is our person, this is Brianne, we could have X3, and all the way down here to X7. So they're all people that make some income, yet they're all different people, and that's what this subscript represents. Okay? So we could have X4, X5, X6. Now, that's what this says. This says add up all of your x's and then divide by the total number of x's that you have. Okay, there's one other problem here too. So the mean is represented. Now let me do it this way. A parameter is the measure of a population. A statistic is the measure of a sample taken from a population. Taken from a population. Okay, so sometimes this is a very subtle difference, and sometimes it's a very obvious difference. So when we talk about our story and our friends at the bar, let's just take a look at the bar for a moment. So the bar probably has a server, someone that was bringing the beer. So this, and there's probably a bartender. And there's probably someone who had too much to drink and they're in the bathroom. So when we're talking about the mean of these average of our numbers here, we're not taking the population of everyone in the bar. We're only taking a sample from these friends in the bar. And so when we talk about the mean, let me show you, the population mean is the parameter. Population mean is the parameter mu. It's a Greek letter. It's pronounced M-U. And the sample mean, that's our statistic, the sample mean is X with a bar over it. Okay? So today, we're only taking from a few of the people in the bar. So we would be calculating just X bar. So our mean is X bar. And in a way, the mean we're calculating today is X bar. So let's do that. So here we go. We're going to find the mean of our friend's income. So let's write that down. So I just add up all of my data values from 30 all the way to the 85. So 30 plus 30 plus 35 plus 40 plus 45 plus 50 plus, and there is Gigi who has the bill at 85. Let's put a line under all of that, and we're going to divide by the number of data. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I would divide this by 7. And then let's see what we come up with here. You can use your calculator. I'm going to try to do this in my head. 30 and 40, that's 100. And then 35 and 45 is 80. That's 130. So that's 230 plus 85. I think that's 315. We divide that by 7. And that goes 45. Yes, 45. So the average income of our friends in the bar is $45,000 a year. Okay, that's the mean. Let's come over here and we're going to find the median. Actually, we're going to go back there because, well, let me write it down. The median is the middle value of data organized in ascending order. Okay? So it's the median of the data in ascending. So ascending would be going from lowest to highest. So I'm going to take my nice salmon colored chalk. Let's go over to our data list. Actually, you know what? Let's just write it here. I'll just write these out. So my 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 85. Now, so how do you find the middle? Well, notice that I'm from lowest to highest. To find the middle, you literally just start at each end and just count inward. So if I move one this way, I would move one this way. One in from the left, one in from the right, one in from the left, one in from the right, and look at that. The middle is 40. Right there. And so that's what we would write. We would write the median is 40. Okay? Now, one more. The mode. Mode is most frequently occurring. Mode is the most frequently occurring value. And sometimes you could have values. So, now also if each value occurs only once, we say we say there is no mode. So let's look at our data values. Notice that all of the data values just occur once until you get to these 30s. There's 2. So you would say the mode is 30. Okay, there we have it. We found that is these. Do you realize what we have just done today? We have found our first set of statistics, mean, median, and mode, from a sample of friends in the bar. But you should have a question at this point, because what was the title of the story? Well, the title of the story is Bill in a Bar. So, what about Bill? Let me tell you. Bill walks into the bar and he sees his friends and he sees all this math on the coasters and maybe on the napkins, and he says, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, well come join us and we'll show you." So they explain and they're like, and Bill gets a beer and they're like, so Bill, help us out. How much money do you make? And he's like, no. Like, all right, well, drink some more beer and then you'll tell us. Well, eventually, Bill does tell. Bill's like, okay, all right. He's like, my income last year was $1 million. $1 million. So let's come back over here and put Bill on our list. $1 million. So that would be not only X7, I'm going to squeeze that in up here as X8. That's Bill. And Bill makes $1 million. Maybe it's Bill Gates. He probably makes more than that, but it's just a number that's good enough for our example. Now what I would like you to do is I'd like you to take a moment, and then I'm going to do it for you as well. And I'd like you to calculate the mean, the median, and the mode with Bill in the bar. Okay? So I'm going to stop here. And the next thing, we're going to meet over here and we'll check your calculations. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to call it the mean with, this is for with Bill this time. So, because notice that this number will probably, this mean will probably be different than our first mean with Bill. Well, let's see if it changes. Notice that if I added all of these values, I could write them all down again, but I don't need to, because what do they add up to? They add up to 315. So really, with Bill, I have 315 plus Bill's income. And now I don't have 7 people, I have 8. So this is 1315 divided by 8. Oh, I have to confess, doing that in my head could take me a while. I think it's like 164 point. Wait, I'm getting some help here in the background. 375.375. Thank you. Now, so this brings up a few things. First off, when we round our data, this is an exact number, but in statistics, since our data is in whole numbers, we usually take our rounding out to 1 decimal more. So we don't need these extra 2. So we're going to call the mean, with Bill in the bar, 164.4. Okay? Now let's do this again. I'm going to write out for the median. So I have my 30. What else do I have? Oh, I have a 35, 40, 45, 50, 85,000. Okay. Now, so I've arranged my data from low to high, and now we want to find the middle value. So you need a piece of pink chalk to do that. And you start at each end, and we work our way into the middle. So moving, I'll do that again. One from the left and one from the right. In from the left and the right and the left and the right. Oh, but look at this. What we do in this case is we take the midpoint of those two numbers. And the midpoint, all it is the mean of two numbers. So to find this, we take the 40 plus 45. We divide it by 2. And so that's it. Our median is 42.5. So median, I'll even write that. A nice sentence, always looks good. Median is 42.5. Okay, now, what else? Oh, the mode. The mode is our most frequently occurring, and if you look, it's still 30. Okay, what happened here? That's the real key. That's what's of interest. Notice this. When Bill walked into the bar and when we recalculated all of our statistics, look at how that changed things. So our mean before Bill was 45,000. And that was probably pretty representative of our 7 friends. But when Bill walked into the bar, Bill's income was so large that look at how it affected the average. It's almost, Bill's income is almost, the average now is almost twice what the highest earner was. So this does not seem very representative of our first 7 friends. And so this brings up an interesting point, one we're going to study closer in a bit, but that is when you have one data value that changes the mean so dramatically that it's no longer representative of the data, then that value is called an outlier. So let me write that down. Of a value that changes the mean so that it is not representative of the data is called an outlier. It's called an outlier. And Bill's income is an outlier. And so there's one last question maybe to help bring this into perspective. So notice that when we had Bill, that the mean was dramatically affected by the outlier. But look at the median. The median changed, but only by $2,500. So it didn't change much. The median is still quite representative of our first 7 friends. And the mode, completely unaffected by it. So then I have a question for you. Suppose you've just finished college and you've just got a new job opportunity and you're going to be moving to another city. And your first question is, well, I wonder if when I make this move, if I will be able to afford housing in this new city. So, assuming that your job is a reasonable job and you're like a recently out of college job, what would you want to know when you move to that city? Would you want to know the median price of a home or the mean price of a home? And the answer is you would want to know the median price of the home, because there's always that big fancy house on a hill, or maybe houses along the coast or some body of water that are just dramatically inflated in price compared to the rest of the city. So when you're starting out, you want to know the median household or the median house price. Now, what if you wanted to start an insurance company, maybe a health insurance company? So would you want to know the median cost of healthcare for a person, or would you want to know the mean cost of healthcare for a person? In that case, you would be better off knowing the mean. Why? Because if you had one person that had some rare concern, needed some very special medical needs, the costs of those could be outrageous. And if you hadn't accounted for them by accounting for the value that an outlier, if you hadn't accounted for those outliers, you would not have been charging enough for your annual premiums. All right, welcome to your first 3 statistics. Thanks for watching.